Hello everyone, welcome to EduTap and welcome to ARD Static Series. So today we will be covering your lecture number 14, that is on the chapter Agriculture Economics. A part of this chapter has been covered in the previous ARD Static Series, and today in this video we will be covering topic regarding farm planning, farm budgeting, different type of farm budgeting and some important terminology regarding your agriculture economics. But before starting this video, I have request, if you're new to our channel, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also you can join us on our Telegram channel. So chalo, first of all, let me answer the question that I have given you in the previous video. The question was, the word extension is derived from, and the right answer for this question is Latin word. Basically, your extension word is derived from a Latin word. Now let's discuss our today's topic, that is on agriculture economics. Today's chapter agriculture economics, and the topic is farm planning. So whenever we have an enterprise, okay, when we see an enterprise, so what the entrepreneur try to allocate the resources to the enterprise for the production, so that he can get maximum output out of that enterprise. So that is called planning. That is called a planning. Similarly, your farm can be considered as an enterprise. If you look a farm as an enterprise, where the owner, the farmer, has to allocate the resources for the production, for the crop production, and the allocation should be done in such a way that he or she is getting maximum return out of that farm. That is your farm planning. So basically, all in all, whenever we are allocating our resources, always resources are scarce, right? So whenever we are allocating our scarce resources for the production purpose in such a way that we are getting maximum out of it, maximum output from that farm, that is your farm planning. So now I hope what is farm planning is clear to you. It refers to the process to allocate the scarce resources of the farm to organize farm production in such a way as to increase the resources use efficiency and income of farmer. Clear? So that was about the farm planning. Now let us discuss about farm budgeting. So what is a budgeting? We all know. Okay? Every day we see that we try to look after our savings, expenses, where we are spending, how much we have. So similarly, when in the farm or in an enterprise, the budgeting is done regarding the total number of assets they have, total liability that farm have, the net worth of that farm, what is the net income, what is the net gross income, and so on. So regarding all the cash inflow and outflow, this step is done under your farm budgeting. That is known as your farm budgeting, when we are taking an account of all the inflow and outflow of the farm for a particular period of time. So that is your farm budgeting. Now I hope what is farm planning and what is farm budgeting is clear to you. Now your farm budgeting can be of 4 types. First is your partial budgeting. So what does this partial budgeting refer to? So basically it's referred to the estimating the cost and return and net income of particular enterprise. It referred to estimating the return for part of business, that is one or few activities. Now I will explain you this through an example. For example, I am a farmer. I have a farm. And in farm, I have many enterprises. One enterprise could be related to livestock rearing. One enterprise could be related to crop production. Another enterprise is related to piggery farming. Another is for goat rearing, sheep rearing. Then we have poultry. Okay, I have these 5 enterprises and I have a big farm. Now what will happen when I will call anything, when I will change something in particular farm. For example, in crop production, in my crop farm, I change a particular variety. For example, I change a rice variety and I try to replace the older variety with the new variety, and then I try to calculate what is the increase in income from that replacement. So that is your partial budgeting, when we are changing any 1 or 2 activity within an enterprise and then calculating what is our net profit, what is our net income, what is our net return. That is your partial budgeting. Clear? So in simple terms, it is estimating the return from a part of a business. Okay, we are not estimating the return of entire business, just of a part of business where we have changed 1 or 2 activities. Clear? So that is your partial budgeting. Now moving on to the enterprise budgeting. Now, talking about partial budgeting, so your partial budgeting can be of different types. See, you can, the farmers can, introduce new machines also. The farmers can introduce new inputs. The farmers can introduce new varieties. So according to that, partial budgeting can be done. And if see a farmer has introduced new machines, so what is the increase in income by after introducing that machine? What is the increase in income after introduction of that particular variety or particular chemical or particular fertilizer? So that is your partial budgeting. Clear? I think now partial budgeting is clear to you. Now we have next enterprise budgeting. Now in partial budgeting, what we were doing, we in a particular enterprise, we were changing one or two activity and then we were calculating the net worth. But in enterprise budgeting, we are replacing whole enterprise. Okay, we are changing the enterprise. Basically, it refers to a single crop or livestock commodity. Most farm consist of combination of several enterprise. So basically, enterprise is your like your crop enterprise, like your crop production is one enterprise, your livestock rearing is one enterprise. So when we are calculating the budget, when we are calculating the net worth, net income from a particular enterprise, that is your enterprise budgeting. Clear? Now I hope this is clear to you. Let's move on to the third type, that is cash flow budgeting. Now, what is this cash flow budgeting? Basically, it is a summary of the cash inflow and the outflow of a business over a given period of time. For example, I have those 5 enterprises and I wanted to see that what is the cash inflow and outflow of the whole enterprise, whole farm in a particular year. Okay, for example, from 2022 to 2023, how much cash inflow and outflow has been there in my enterprise, in my farm. So that is called as cash flow budgeting. From the name itself, it is indicating that it is about cash flow. Means cash in how much cash there is that has come and how much cost that has gone, right? So that is cash flow budgeting. Clear? The fourth type is complete budgeting. Now from the name itself, it is understandable that it is about complete budgeting of a farm. So it is called the total budgeting. It referred to preparing a budget of farm. Okay, when we are preparing a total budget of a farm, that is your complete budgeting. Complete budgeting considers all the crop, livestock, method of production and aspect of marketing in consolidate form and estimate costs and return of the farm. Now in complete budgeting, we are not focusing on any activity or any particular enterprise. We are computing the net worth, we are computing the cash inflow, cash outflow, or we are computing the total return, total cost and total return of entire farm. So that is your complete budgeting. Now it is very simple. I hope now it is clear to you what is budgeting and what are the 4 types of budgeting is clear to, right? Now let us discuss about the important terminology. Now they are important. Why I am saying they are important? Because one question was asked from them. So these ratios are important for you, and what they are and what is the formula of these ratios you should know. Okay, formula are very important because question from formula was asked. The first is net capital ratio. Now here, what is the net capital ratio? Basically, it measures the degree of financial safety by comparing present position of business with the previous date. Okay, so previously, what was my position? What was the position of my enterprise? And what is the position of my enterprise today? So when we are comparing the enterprise, when we are comparing the position of enterprise from previous year to present year, that is your net capital ratio. So basically, net capital ratio equals total asset upon total liabilities. Okay, what are my total assets and what are my total liability? When we are dividing my total assets with my total liabilities, that is your net capital ratio. Now what are assets? Assets are those things which can bring you money. Okay, and liabilities are those things which in which you have to give money. Okay, so assets are those things which are your assets which are bringing you money, and liabilities are those things for which you have to pay the money. So this is the asset and liabilities, and the net capital ratio is calculated by dividing your total asset of a farm to the total liabilities. Now talking about current ratio, so basically it measures the ability of farm to meet its current liability. It is saying about current ratio, net is about the total. Okay, so here we are considering total asset, total liability. Current is about the current position. Okay, what is the current status of that farm? So that is calculated by dividing current asset with the current liabilities. Clear? Then we have asset test ratio. So it is the measure of liquidity by considering only highly liquid current asset. So basically it is quick asset upon current liability. Okay, so your asset test ratio is your quick asset upon current liabilities. Moving on to the next, that is debt equity ratio. So compares total liabilities to owner equity or net worth. Now debt equity ratio, and from the name only it should be clear to you that what is the debt equity means. It is the debt that a owner have upon the net worth of that owner. Okay, he is able to give his debt or not, that is the debt equity ratio, and it is calculated by dividing your debt upon the owner's net worth and net equity. Then we have total asset turnover ratio. Okay, the name suggests total asset turnover ratio. So basically it measures how efficiently assets are employed, how efficiently you have employed your assets that they can give you maximum benefit. So that is your total asset turnover ratio, and it is net sale upon total asset. So what is your net sale upon total asset? That is how you calculate your total asset turnover ratio. Clear? Then we have net income to total asset. What is this? This is basically measure of the efficiency of capital employed on the farm. So here we are talking about net income, so means we are talking about capital, how the capital is being employed in a farm. What is the efficiency of that capital? That is your net income to total asset. So here it is calculated on the basis of your net income upon total asset. Clear? So now I hope all these are clear to you. Moving on to the next, we have equity value ratio. What is this? It indicates the financial position of the farm business. So equity value ratio is basically your net worth upon total assets. Okay, so what is your equity value? What is the equity value of particular farm? What is the net worth of that particular farm? And that is calculated by net worth upon total asset. Then we have crop yield index. Basically this is an index, this is a crop yield index which is calculated by comparing the crop yield of farm that are present locally with the farm that you have. Okay, so we compare the crop yield of the farm that is locally present and then we say that what is my crop yield index. Okay, whether it is good or not as compared to the local other farmers, that is your crop yield index. It is compares the yield of all other crop on the farm to the average yield on the locality. What is the average yield? For example, I am growing rice, okay, and many farmers locally, they are also growing rice, and their average yield is 30 quintal, and my average yield is 27 or 28 quintal. So that is how we are comparing. Okay, so for comparison, this crop yield index is measured, and it is basically the comparison of the crop production that is on the farm to the average crop production on the local farmers. Then we have system index. Basically it determines the efficiency of combining different enterprises on the farm. So system index, when we are developing in a system, when we are combining enterprises, for example, the manure for the compost, the waste of the livestock is used for the used as a manure in the crop production. It is used for growing crops. So now we have integrated this system. Okay, and now what will happen? Due to application of that natural manure, the soil quality will increase, nutrient will be given to the soil crops, and the crop will show good yield, right? So now what will happen? Your net worth will, your production will increase. So it is the efficiency, what is the efficiency of combining your two enterprises? So that is your system index. Clear? Now I hope these are clear to you. Then we have operating ratio. So it represents the proportion of gross income absorbed by operating expenses. So operating ratio is basically your total operating expense upon gross income. What is your total operating expense that you have to spend and upon your gross income? That is your operating ratio. Then we have fixed ratio. So it calculates the total fixed asset as a proportion of gross income. So what is your total fixed asset as a proportion of gross income? That is your fixed ratio. Then we have gross ratio, which is the percentage of gross income to the total asset. Okay, so total expenses upon gross income, that is your total cost absorbed by total cost. So total expenses upon gross income, that is your gross ratio. Clear? So these are very important ratio. One question has come from this, and it might be from any other ratio it can come this year. So I request you all to please have an idea about all these. Now let's discuss the question based on whatever we have discussed so far. So very first question is, what is the operating ratio under farm management? And this was the question that was asked in NABARD. Okay, so your options are given, and the right answer is total operating expenses to the gross income. We have discussed this. Then it is, what is the net capital ratio? It is total asset upon total liability. Then we have, what is current ratio? Current ratio is current assets upon current liabilities. The next is, what is equity value ratio? So it is net worth upon total assets. Then we have, what is total asset turnover ratio? Total asset turnover ratio is basically your whole net sale upon total assets. Then there is a practice question for you, and you have to tell me what is the debt equity ratio. You have to solve this question, and do let me know the answer of this question in the comment box. So that was all. But before closing, I have an announcement that we have launched a comprehensive NABARD guidebook for you, which is your one-step solution to all your queries regarding NABARD and NABARD examination. Not only that, it will also provide you the PYQs as well as the decoded syllabus and strategy and resources to crack this NABARD Grade A examination, and all that too for free. Yes, you can avail this guidebook for free, and for that you have to go to the description box, click on the link, register yourself, and avail this guidebook for yourself. So that was all aspirant for this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. Thank you so much.